Welcome to Coffee with Connect. We get together on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9:30 in the morning. We get our coffee, we get into God's Word, and today's coffee mug is just a simple Ohio State mug. OH. I heard you all say it. So yeah, we're going to continue going through 1 John, and we're in 1 John chapter 2. If you haven't joined us for the other episodes, I hope that you'll go back to June 8th and start at the beginning of the book and go through 1 John with us as we're going really a verse at a time and all the way through. I mean, we're doing a couple of verses each day, but yeah, we're going straight through, and it's been great so far. And so quick recap as we're getting into this part of the second chapter here of 1 John. That John was written this to believers that are maybe needing reassurance of who Jesus is as the Messiah, and kind of reassuring there, but at the same time he's also emphasizing godly living and caring for others as signs of those who truly know God. And the last episode, those verses really emphasize that, and in these verses today we're going to look at do as well to kind of reinforce and continue to support that idea, as we're going to read here in 1 John chapter 2 verses 9 through 11, and I'm again reading out of the NLT. So here we go. If anyone claims I'm living in the light but hates a fellow believer, that person is still living in darkness. Anyone who loves a fellow believer is living in the light and does not cause others to stumble. But anyone who hates a fellow believer is still living and walking in darkness. Such a person does not know the way to go, having been blinded by the darkness. So as we're doing our process here of pray, read, think, write, do, as I think about what I just read, and I think about that personally as it applies to me, obviously this is continuing to support the idea from the last couple of verses of love and the greatest commandment that Jesus talked about. This idea and this measurement of those that follow Jesus as being measured by love. Not only love for God and all that, but love for others. I think it also insinuates here that, as it says, anyone who loves a fellow believer is living in the light, does not cause others to stumble. So I think there's an inference here of also indifference. Not just, I think we read this and maybe think like, oh, if I'm in a knockdown, drag out fight with somebody or whatever. But I think it can be also much more subtle and much more simple than that and still cause the same problems. In fact, I know that's the case. And so this like maybe indifference that we could have of like, I just don't care. We should never really get to that place where we just go, I don't care. And then it's easy for me to sit here and say, and I know it doesn't mean that I don't do it as well. But that can cause someone else to stumble. And we can be blinded by the darkness. And, this also made me think, it was talking about the darkness and stumbling and all of that. You might know your house really, really well. I know I do. I can walk through walk through my house in the pitch black and know where I'm going. But boy, there's still that occasional time where you hit your toe on something, or you step on a Lego, or maybe that's just at my house, but or a Nerf dart or something like that, and it causes you to like freak out and stumble because you really can't see where you're going. You know perfectly well where you're going, but you're going to stumble more than likely if you're trying to walk through it in the dark. And you can cause others to stumble as well because you may not even see that you're running them over. This is how important love is. That's how important it is. And so we might think we're good, but if we're harboring something against someone else, against a fellow believer especially, it's going to cause problems. It's going to cause problems in our faith, and it's going to continue to cause problems within the body eventually. So what is that saying to you? What has maybe God challenged you with through this that you could write down that makes a difference to you? And then of course, what do we do with this? Well, I'm going to challenge you a little bit here, because there may be something that you have against someone right now that's a fellow believer, and I promise you it's causing a rift in your relationship with God. I promise you it is. You may not think it is, but I promise you it is. And according to God's word here that we just read together, potentially you've been blinded by the darkness there. And so we can't let that become bitter, because bitterness becomes poison. And so I guess the challenge here for what do we do if there's something like that? If God's kind of maybe brought something to light for you right now as you're watching and listening to this, I would encourage you to seek the best way to make it right. Maybe it's something you need to let go and give it over to God. Maybe it's a conversation that needs to happen, and forgiveness that needs to be extended or even received and offered. And so let's put the darkness of hate aside so that the light of the love of Jesus can shine. Thanks for joining me, and I hope that you will like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and join me again next time so that we can have our coffee and connect to Christ's community purpose.